What up?
What up? What an ugly shirt you got on there.
Yankees. Da, 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 da. Yankees. Da, 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 da. So your team is a little bit of a trouble situation, isn't it?
That's okay. Dodgers suck in the playoffs. They've sucked all year.
The amazing thing is how many times they got the best record in baseball and not make it to the championship round, and how many times they not make it to the World Series.
I mean, we're literally throwing out a bullpen game in a must-win game. I mean, that's
pretty bad.
We had more starting pitchers than I think the White Sox had wins.
Oh, you did absolutely. They had 120 losses, didn't they?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like we probably put.
Somebody said you have 45. Somebody said Dodgers had 45 different pitches.
Somebody said I'm quiet. Why am I quiet? Let's change that.
I don't know. What are you going to do? Blast your volume?
I don't know.
I told you that before, and you kept saying...
You never tell me nothing.
I did so. I said, I can hardly hear you. I said that.
I don't know. You just thought my face was away. All right, I'll turn it up.
You thought.
How about now?
Right. That sounds better.
Am I louder now?
Let me lower my volume.
Is that too loud?
No, that's it's okay. I got to lower mine. I can do that.
All right, I'm going to leave it there.
I'm a professional.
I'm going to leave it there. Everybody needs me to talk louder and get my mics up. I'll talk louder.
Okay, I got you at 74 now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
You got me at 74.
Yeah. 74. So what's going on? Anything good?
Oh, just chilling.
New issue day?
New issue day was yesterday. Everybody was on point. Nobody was messing with their pets.
That was pretty good, right?
Yeah. A new issue day.
I like that. He's had some really good roles in his career. I like that one, the Moneyball one. He's had some good ones. He did good with that other movie with about the rock singer. What the hell was the guy's name?
The who?
Well, he was in charge of getting the guy to the concert or something.
Oh, Get Him to the Greek. Yeah.
Yeah, that one. He was pretty good in that one too.
Yeah, so was Puff Daddy in that movie.
Yeah.
But now it all makes a little more sense why he was like that.
Anyway, so today we're going to talk about new balls.
That's right.
Let's talk about the Woo Box first.
Oh, yeah, right. We got to talk about the Woo Box. I'm going to post the link.
It's going to post that link. Everybody knows the rules. For those that are new and hadn't been to visit us yet on the podcast, every week Nick posts a Woo Box. You put your name in the Woo Box. Staff members know the rules. Don't do it. And then at the end of the show, Nick will allegedly randomly pick a name, and that person will have a chance to win prizes on the wheel. If you are watching the show, you'll have 90 seconds once your name is picked to tell us you're in the show. And if you are, you'll get a spin. If you don't like the gift, you'll get another spin. If it lands on Grip Sack, we'll give you another spin. If it lands on Grip Sack again, we'll give you another spin. If you get the third Grip Sack, you're the Grip Sack. 3 times the charm, you get 3 Grip Sacks.
Yep. We're going to run out of Grip Sack inventory, and we're never going to sell one.
You can share them with your friends. Put them in your Christmas stockings as Grip Sack gifts.
Yeah, they make great stocking stuffers if you're from the East Coast.
Stocking stuffers.
Stocking stuffers.
That's from Boston. That's Boston. So anyway, give it a spin. You're going the other way.
I'm going to try to go counterclockwise.
Yeah, only because I'm going broke with the first way you're doing it.
We got to change it up. We just keep giving away too many free bowling balls.
I can't give away
arsenals.
I can't do it. Give it a spin. I'm going.
I've been doing it left-handed, like this way, the whole time, and now I'm going.
Yeah, I'm going to try it the other way.
I'm going clear magic.
I'm going T-shirt.
I can't can't even spin it that hard.
Well, that was good. It was a good solid spin. It was good for the first time.
Oh, almost triple ball or trill arson on backpack. All right. Yeah.
All right. Backpack's a good gift.
I don't think I can do that for the actual spin. I might break something.
Like your arm?
Like I need this. This is my bowling arm. I got to use my non-bowling arm. I don't want to be like, hey guys, I need a sub for this week.
I hurt my arm spinning a wheel. I can't bowl this week. Yeah, there you go.
I pulled my elbow. I have to have Tommy John.
You're so athletic. So we have balls from Brunswick, Track, and Radical to talk about today.
That's right. 5 bowling balls to talk about, but that's not all we have to talk about, is there?
No, we have some news.
Are we ready for the news?
Yes.
It's the striking news. Bowling news and views from around the world with your hosts, Brunsnick and Phil Cardinelli. It's the striking news.
The striking news.
Not a news. So here's what's going on. The ball manufacturers, we had a meeting. We all got together.
Meeting?
Yeah, to address some of the concerns of the industry. And one of the biggest concerns was the consumers complaining about too many ball launches.
That's true. We hear it all the time. Every time we announce a new
every single time.
Ball.
New ball launch. Oh, another new ball. It's the same as the other ball. This one looks like that. We hear that all the time. So we decided to take that into consideration. We all did. And we decided we're going to launch more balls. Too bad.
The decision has been made, and unanimous decision.
It was too bad. You know, it's funny because I hear that every single time we have a new launch.
Yeah.
Oh, another new ball. And what is this one supposed to do? So last night was pretty funny in league. We got this new guy, Dan, that bows with us. Nice guy. He's a fireman. Really good guy. Quiet. He's with the wrong team for that. He misses half of the sarcasm of our jokes. You know, he's a little naive. Anyway, he says, so I had the no doubt out last night, put on the table. I was put some tape in it.
Maybe they're just not funny jokks. That's all. He doesn't miss it. He just doesn't think they're funny.
Yeah, he don't think they're funny. Maybe that's it. And he says to me, and my whole team's sitting there. You know, there's 4 of us. There's 2 guys sitting there. And he goes, what is this ball supposed to do? I said, well, we designed this one to get 7.
We have plenty of balls that we designed to get strikes, but
yeah, we don't have any to get 7. So it's funny because I get that all the time. You know, this ball is no different than the last ball. And you know what? I don't disagree. There's a lot of balls that are very similar and, you know, similar motions. And there's only so many things you can do. You can add some technology to it. We work a lot on after drilling numbers. But here's the problem. Nobody buys the same ball over and over.
Nobody.
They only buy new.
You proved that in a seminar one time.
I did. I proved that last year around this time in the seminars. I asked somebody after they complained about how many new balls were coming out, and I said, well, how many people come in and reorder? And they said, none. And then they realized this was the follow-up to the question I asked them 20 minutes ago, and the answer was none. And my answer is, if we don't come out with new balls, the pro shops will go out of business.
Yeah, what are you going to sell?
Yeah, I mean, they'll go out of business. Literally, think about it. They have rent is constant, the overhead are constant, the employees are constant. And if there's nothing new to sell, how are they going to stay open?
Yeah, if new sells, guess what? You need new bowling balls.
You need
new is exciting.
Exactly. Now, again, depending on the company and the manufacturer and so on and so forth, there's sometimes people make balls because they have to, and they don't add anything different to it. That's a different problem. But, you know, at Radical, Steve Freshour does a great job coming up with some neat ideas. You know, he and I are working on a few projects together that are I think are going to be industry, impact the industry greatly on some of the techniques with things we're working on. So, you know, as we come out with new balls, you're going to see different things. And we'll talk about 2 Radical balls today. But, you know, and Brunswick has 2 and Track has 1. And there's something different about each ball that you can't say, ho-hum, that's the same thing that came out the last time. Whether it's a core changes or cover stock changes, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, we'll talk about them today.
By the way, whoever designs the cores for Radical does a great job.
They do. And it's Steve Fresh Hour, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, yeah, he does it. Steve, you do a great job. Just want to put it out there.
We're gonna have him on the show next week.
That is true. We got him lined up. So we're gonna have some data talk with Stevie Fresh next week. Look forward to episode 77. In fact, if you're so excited and you can't wait, just click off and just tune in next week for much better content.
And interesting, Steve's going to pick up a little bit where we left off on the core evolution. He'll talk about some of the new things we use in designing cores nowadays, and more so about the ratios of diffs and so on. So it's going to be a pretty interesting show to tune in for.
Sure.
We'll talk about that again later. So you want to get into talking a little bit about the new balls, or you got something else?
I got nothing, so we might as well just start talking about some bowling balls, huh?
Yeah, and then we'll open up the second half to the we have the top 5, and then we have we'll have to take a lot of questions on the product, because I know we're going to have some of the questions.
Yep.
And I have notes.
Wow, you actually did some homework this week.
I had to, because you were slacking.
By the way, the top 5.
Oh boy,
Phil came up with this week.
I did, and then
Phil.
Nick. Well, whatever.
Phil finally contributed to a top 5. You're gonna see how great it is. What a great
What
job.
was the? Oh, yeah, well, last week you did the top 5, and I did that whole elaborate core evolution. So I'm sorry.
So you say you're taking a vacation this week?
Yeah, I think a little time off.
Yeah,
No,
right.
I didn't. I had more than enough stuff to do.
You had 6 days off.
Yeah, exactly. Work once a week.
It's like, that's great. What have you done this week?
Oh man, go ahead. Hit the ball. Put the balls up.
All right, we're gonna put some bowling balls up. Let's start with one of the most pretty looking bowling balls ever. Look at this thing.
The Ivory Rhino
Wow.
Pro. Look at that thing.
Tony Pro.
Tony Pro. He was up in the Bronx, by the way. The Rhino Pro Ivory. So this ball's interesting. He's got a thick shell in 15s and 16s.
Yes, it is.
That's pretty cool. That's
theme.
unique.
It is. You don't see a lot of that anymore. And we get the question a lot, like, how come it's only 15 and 16 that gets thick shell? Why does it go to dynamic core in 14?
Right.
Because in 14, if you put that same, because the outer material weighs one bit, so you'd have to change the dynamics of the inner core to change the weight from 15 to 14.
So in order to hold the dynamics of the inner core, we have to put the dynamic core outer core.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
So the numbers in 15 are 2.56032, and in 14 pound, they're not much different. They're 2.58032. Is that what's at there?
That's what you have. Yeah.
So the numbers are virtually identical. The differential is the main thing you want to look at. Now, if you look at 16 pound, the numbers are actually higher. The differential is like 40 something. So
wasn't that the same thing with the hammer? The purple hammer.
Mm-hmm, sure is.
Sure. So it's interesting. The reason dynamic core is so cool, works so great, and acts like a thick shell ball is because specific gravity of the material is about the same as the cover stock.
Right. Yeah.
So
they designed that to mimic it as close as possible. It's not 100%, but it's as close as possible.
As close as possible. Right.
Yep.
So that's pretty cool. And then this ball is HK22 Activator Plus 3.0 Pearl.
There you go. You got it. Yep.
I got it. I memorized that.
Yeah, with that
I invented that
factory compound finish. You see that across the board. We don't use a lot of high gloss polish.
No,
factory polish. You see that at the low end, but this is a pretty decent performance ball. It actually hooks quite a bit.
You think you threw this ball? Does it mimic the original Teal Rhino at all?
Well, it's a compliment to it. So, like the teal that came out last year, or was it early this year? It's probably last year at this point. I can't remember. But this is a lot stronger off the bat because that was a non-HK ball cover.
Right.
So the same guts, but when you change the cover to something HK22 and make it pearl, the sharpness off the spot, where the solid was slower. I would never call that a strong ball. It's not a heavy oil ball. It's more for controlling the track and playing straighter. You know, and it struggled moving in, trying to open up angles. But the Ivory with HK22 Pearl comes off that spot a lot harder, and you can play those angles. So,
yep.
I'm going to put this in my bag for league this week. It'll be my ball I kind of transition to after the lanes have broken down a little bit.
Right.
And I'm going to see how it does.
You know, it's funny that the HK22, and I've spoken, but I absolutely love that. It's just fantastic. It is by far the best cover stock in the industry, bar none. I mean, we've tested the other companies' cover stocks, and it doesn't even come close. And what I've done is, because of the HK22 and all of the steps and iterations of it, I started testing older balls with it, you know, stuff like the Intel, the bonus, balls like that, which have that lower total diff, you know, of like 032, 035, whatever it is. And it's a whole different animal.
Yeah, that's your wheelhouse right there.
It's not a Rhino. It's a whole different animal. It is in my wheelhouse. And I'm telling you, I'm excited about some of the opportunities we have with HK22 going forward.
It's a Stegosaurus.
Yeah, that's what that is. But you know, I just think the lower differential balls with HK22 on them are just fantastic. You know, because they're clean. Anyway, they have less flare, and it's all down lane. And they're just more of a house shot killer. You know, and we've been playing around with a lot of the HK22 variants on different cores, so it's fun. You know.
Now we're getting into cohesion a little bit.
Absolutely.
You're starting to see that additive come into other brands. It started with the hammer effect.
Yep.
And now you're starting to see it come into other brands. Not in its pure form, but it's actually getting blended. Because that's the great thing about additive packages. Like, you've messed with all sorts of different additive packages.
Forever I've done that, right?
The ratios of what you use it.
Absolutely. I just got some test balls in this morning. The ball showed up for our next batch of tests we're going to do next week. Opened the box up, and guess what? It had a different scent to it. And that can mean just one thing. It's HK22C. Yeah.
In its purest form.
In its purest form. This is in its purest form. I have two versions of it. You know, so
I wonder if
it's got a little get to the point. Smell. Go ahead.
I wonder if we can ever get to the point where we can kind of have a manufacturing separate spot where you can do one-offs. You know what I mean?
Oh,
where
yeah.
A customer can go in and say, "I want." It's like a Build-A-Bear for bowling balls. I just trademarked that, by the way. I invented that, where they can go in and say, "I want that core, I want that cover, and I want it that color, or these colors."
And you can have that for the low price of $1,572.
What would it be worth? That's the thing, to have a USB-C compliant, you know, build your own ball.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's expensive. USB-C would up that price
to do the
because I think it's $500 or $700, right, to get a ball approved.
Right, but maybe we can fast track something like that, where, hey, this is what we're doing. We're taking existing cores, existing covers.
Yeah.
And we're doing, you know, obviously they have to be approved, but they're using existing parts.
What would our fans pay for that?
What would that cost?
Well, no, I know what it would cost.
No, you know it. I mean, what would it cost to the consumer if they said,
what would they pay?
I want, you know, you can go on to Vans, you know, shoe website and order custom colored Vans or Converse or whatever. They got a lot of that stuff now where you can custom your own shoes. You used to do that with lins. You used to be able to customize lins back in the day. And you say,
I remember that. Right.
I want this toe with this heel and blah, 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 blah.
Right. We should ask the guys, what do you think? What would you pay for it? And it's got to be an existing core, an existing cover. We'll put the match together for you.
Someone said $229.99. That I don't think
it's not going to come close.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go to the next ball.
I mean, that's what you pay for a normal ball.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's what you're going to pay with a special ball.
All right, let's hop over to Brunswick again. We got the Ethos Hybrid.
Ethos Hybrid. Now this one here is HK22C. Again, it's got the cohesion cover on it.
Yep, but it's a blend.
Blended, and it's symmetrical. 2.48053. 500 2000. So it's got a little bit of a matte type finish to it. It's not it doesn't have any compound on it. I don't know much about this ball's performance. I know this is not the first Ethos. There was this is a hybrid version.
Yeah. So the first one was shinier pearl.
Yeah.
And created a lot of back end motion. This is going after more of that mid range, earlier read for more heavy oil, something that can combat a little more oil. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch. And that's how across all brands we develop, ball launches. There's always a strategy. It's like, all right, well, we had this Ethos. Now we're going to make an Ethos Hybrid that is going to be different. Obviously the only thing that changes is the cover stock, and color and all that stuff. But the core is the same. Symmetrical core, higher differential ball.
That is a high diff. 053 is pretty high.
Yep. And it's got that flip block on the bottom, little dense flip block to help. Pretty simple shape. But yeah, a lot of technology in this ball. I mean, the other thing I think gets overlooked a lot is the dot technology.
Right.
So, I know you don't use it in Radical.
Yeah, I don't use it yet.
Because
yet.
It
may come a time we have to. I mean, I just don't know. Right now we're not.
Yeah, it's just such a no-brainer after the fact. We developed the technology to do it, and forever the problem's always been drilling too close to the pin creates a weak spot and can lead to cracking. Yeah. So what if we just eliminated the pin somehow, some way in manufacturing? And that's exactly what that does. The pin is on the bottom of the core now, so it's a fundamental change from how you design a core and how it's manufactured in there. So top is now bottom, bottom's top. And so when you go to drill it, you're drilling into the dot, the engraved spot, which is marking the other side.
Other side of the core. It's on the top of the core, actually. It's just the other side of the pin.
Right, other side of the pin. Right. So fantastic technology. It's really cool.
It is. So that's a symmetrical ball. I'm a big fan of symmetrical balls. And I like them because it makes the hook window longer. The ball holds its rotation a little longer. It's less sensitive off the spot in a lot of cases. It's not going to roll forward after the hook phase. So you threw that ball. I'm sure you did. How much did it hook?
Pretty strong. But it wasn't like ultra quick off the spot or anything like that.
Right. It's a more gradual transition.
Right. Yeah. It's a good fresh ball, like out of the box. If you're a symmetrical player, you like something that's not super quick off the spot, and you're looking to control the pocket. That's the one. That's the type of ball you start with. Something with a little surface. It's not super dull or anything like that. But this also could be a bridge ball from like if you start with like a big ASIM up top, say,
and then
like,
gradually go down.
Yeah, like Mesmerize or like Max Bias or something that you start with that's really strong, and when that starts to flatten out, this is a ball that bridges the gap to some of your shinier pearls that are more angular. Where you can't just go from Max Bias to like a Scorpion Strike or something pearl or No Doubt or something. You have to get something in between, to be able to bridge that gap. So
that differential is a little strong.
Oh, yeah. And the numbers,
so
I think,
potential in there.
The numbers definitely go up too after drilling. I've always noticed on any symmetrical ball I drill, I go with a 4.5 pin by 20 on the VAL. And I normally use 5-inch pin on my ASIMs for whatever simplicity. So I always over flare on the 4.5 layouts. They always catch the thumb on the very last flare or two before it hits the pins. Right. So the core is doing a lot of work. It's flaring a lot.
So you use that to slow the ball down because it hits over the thumb holes and it doesn't keep hooking. Well, that's how you control your back end.
It's science, because I want the ball to just slightly lift up a little bit as it enters the pocket so that it changes the impact point.
The dynamics, the impact point on the pin. It's above center of the pin.
So it keeps the pins lower. Yeah, right?
Higher, lower. Yeah, it hits below. People don't understand. The middle of the ball hits the middle of the pin.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah. But if you raise the ball up just like a fraction of an inch, you know, you're hitting it at a different angle. So.
But for years I heard, well, that ball keeps the pins really low.
I hate
Unless gravity has changed, the middle of the pin hits the middle of the ball hits the middle of the pin.
Right.
There is no such thing as keeps the pins really low. Now, it may continue better through the pins and create more pin action. Yes, that's because the ball is continuing.
Yeah.
But hitting the pin, keeping them low, would only happen if the ball was bigger than the pin center to center.
Yeah. I wonder if, you know, I can get a couple of bowling balls, one that's on the absolute maximum of USB-C tolerance and one at the absolute minimum, and test them side by side.
I've done it.
I know, but which one would strike more? Which one would carry more? I know the answer, but
you want me to tell you? You know the answer.
The small ball carries better.
Absolutely, it carries much better. It's not even close.
So why aren't we targeting the smallest possible?
I don't know.
It's not.
It's big enough to feel.
Yeah.
You could feel it.
For you, yeah.
For me,
I wouldn't feel nothing. And I'm on the opposite side of the fence. I want my pins to fly in the air. I want to see.
Well, that's what happens when that's what the smaller ball does.
Because it's not hit. Yeah, it's
sending the pins up. They come when they go up. You know what they have to do? They have to come back down.
Yeah, that's fun.
They bounce all over the place.
Right. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right,
done it.
I'm gonna put the.
I'll put the Woo box up again. So the Woo box, put your name in, everybody, if you want to try to win something. Nick will pick a name at the end of the show around 3:00, half hour or so from now, and then if your name gets picked, you have 90 seconds to let us know you're in the show. And if you are, you'll get a second spin if you desire. So you might win like a triple ball roller, and you'd say, well, you know, and I got a triple ball roller. Give me another spin, and you get a grip sack. Could happen.
Perfect.
You wouldn't be able to sand it, Nick.
It's not like they're gonna spot check. Even at nationals, they wouldn't know. There's no chance.
No.
You
make them too small, they won't come back.
We're just gonna have ball calls after ball calls.
My ball's still stuck.
There we go. Scott's teasing me. The new Nick business, small balls.
Oh,
I'm gonna personally, instead of asking for like specs 3 to 4, you know, 3 ounce.
No, ask for circumference.
Yeah, I'm like, I need something that's 8.50 or below.
I used to do it when I was at Columbia. I told you that. I've told you that story.
I'm gonna take my thing and then I'm just gonna put all my new bowling balls on the Haas diamond wheels for like 5 minutes. There we go.
I used to get a case of balls and go back to the factory and tell them to cut them at the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And then re-engrave them for me, on my own. They're still legal. They were legal. They just felt better in my hand.
You're all about that advantage, aren't you? With your special towel and your
So what's your point?
You're a rule bender. How about that?
I am. What about the trackball?
There it is. Criterion. Yeah.
The Criterion, it's a symbol, obviously. 2.50, 052, 018. So it's got a moderate to, it's a moderate intermediate diff.
Mm-hmm.
Multi-density core.
Yeah, so that insert there is actually like X-shaped. Like if you see it in pieces,
it's X-shaped.
Goes to the entire ball. So it's like an X. And I think actually what they did with that this time was made it less dense than the main part of the core.
Yeah.
That way it raised the RG slightly.
I was going to say, took it out of the 2.48s.
Yep.
Into the 5.0s.
Yeah.
This is a blended HK22C blended QR12 solid.
That's right. Yep.
And it's got a 500 2000 finish on it. So again, this one's got a little bit matte type finish, no gloss.
Yeah. Go ahead. Not super dull either. I mean, for a high performance ball.
Yeah.
It doesn't normally when you want a high performance cover and you want to work in oil, you're using 500, 1000, 500, 1500, something really dull. But we test them all at different surfaces, and that's how we kind of land on. That's how you do it too. You say, hey,
Yeah, I watch it go down the lane and see where it rolls forward or whatever it does, and
yeah, you make your decision. Make your decision based off of that. But this ball in particular, it kept its axis rotation longer for me, and I think everybody will see that if they watch my reviews. But normally, when you get a high performance ball, it's going to do one or two things. It's going to want to like lope, or it's going to want to spin faster and then use a lot of its energy, find its PSA, and then kind of roll forward.
Right.
This one stayed on its axis for a lot longer and maintained it, and actually had a lot of energy through the pins. There's like some shots that were just noticeably. Maybe it was a small ball because I had pins flying up in the air. Maybe
might have been.
Got a small one, everybody. That's gonna be the thing I say now. Whenever I send pins up in the air,
a small ball.
So
I wonder how long you have to keep the ball on a Haas machine to make it small enough to notice. You know why? You got to get the ring.
Yeah, we got that. We got that.
You got the ring.
Yeah, we got that. Man.
Yeah. I was at the pro shop not too long ago. I'm not going to mention the company's name, but there was a competitive company ball on the table, and I took the ring and I ran the ring over the ball, and it went over the ball in one direction. Then I turned the ball on its side.
Which side?
And the ring didn't go over it.
I didn't know balls had sides.
Well, pin up and then pin.
I get what you're saying.
I know you did. But with the pin up, it fit all the way over the ball.
Yeah.
All the way through. So that ball was small.
Was it concentric sanding?
And then
how long ago was this?
That wasn't that long ago.
Oh,
and then I turned the ball with the pin to the right, and the ring did not go over the ball. So the ball was oblong.
It was a football. What's a football?
What's a football? Yeah, that was so strange. And it wasn't the only ball that it did that to from that same company. So
I guess you could say that ball was asymmetric.
It was elliptical.
It's not a ball, it's an egg.
It's an egg. It was strange. And the pro shop guy, my buddy, was shaking his head. Yeah, my buddy, the pro shop guy, was going like this. Stop doing it. I got customers in the store. Stop doing it. So anyway.
People say we have manufacturing issues. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Exactly, we are. So those are the three balls from the other brands: the trackball, the Rhino, and the Ethos. And again, you look at the products that we come out with; they're all different. You got a thick-shelled. I guess that's an entry-level mid-price ball.
I think it's upper mid, actually. The Rhino's up there in performance. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but I mean, price-wise, it's probably a little less expensive. Well, I know it's less expensive than the upper mids. And that's one price point that's got great technology built into it. You look at the Ethos and you got HK22 cohesion on it. So there's a new technical advancement to that ball. Then you look at the Criterion and you end up with a multi-density core ball.
Brand new design.
Brand new design with HK22C.
Yeah.
So they're not just a remakes, color change, slap a new name on the core type thing. At Brunswick, we're really, really going all out with technology right now. We're at the top of the heap. And HK22 got us there with a lot of the cover stock options that we have. And once we have great cover stocks like that, we can do a whole lot more different things with cores.
It all comes down to the team. We got the best core designers. We got the best cover chemists in the world.
Yeah.
We got the best marketing team. We got the best product development team.
Yeah, and I get
customer
you.
Service. I know. And then you drew the short straw.
I drew the short straw. I got you. So we got a couple of balls from Radical.
Real quick, that just reminded me of my favorite line from the movie Fury with Brad Pitt. Where they're the tank drivers in World War II.
Yeah.
And the new guy comes on board and he messes up his first mission or whatever. He's like, "Son, I had the best gunner in all of Tennessee sitting in that seat. Now I got you." That's how I feel. That's how you made me feel right there.
Now I got you.
Now I got you.
So,
all right, which one do you want to talk about first?
Oh, I don't know. What pick one?
No doubt.
no doubt about it. So we started a new, I invented a new category for us, super symmetricals.
You're gonna have to explain that once
I am going to explain
the specs.
Yeah,
that's
start looking at that. I want you to look at the core shape.
Oh no, I messed up on the core.
You put the wrong core there, didn't you? Yeah, you did. Yeah, I was trying to help you out, Nick.
Here, let's talk about Zigzag. I'll fix that one.
All right, fix that one. We use the same core in every ball. We just name it differently. After I just said we have great technology. Let's talk about you had one job.
Really,
you had
technology.
One job.
Ah, man, I put the wrong layer on there.
Yeah, you did. All right, so the Zigzag. Let's talk about that first.
Yeah, HK22.
Yeah, exactly. HK22 solid. So when you look at a ball like the Zigzag, one of the things we talk about with this ball, what I think makes this one of our best core designs ever, Steve Freshow put this together, is the ratio between the diff and the intermediate. You know, it's a 3-to-1 ratio, 15-to-45. One of the interesting things about it is the maximum flip drilling. If you went to the drill sheet, went to the max flip drilling, that 0.45 will go up to 0.57, and the 0.15 intermediate diff goes to 0.30. That's monster strong. Now on our drill sheet, we have, let's find my drill sheet. Here we go. On the drill sheet, we have a column called performance differential. We really never talked about that in the past. Mo had worked on that. He invented that. And what the performance differential is, it explains, it's a ratio, a relationship between the total diff and intermediate diff. It'll tell you about how much a ball will flare. Now, it's not a measurement. It's not inches. It's just a ratio, a relationship. So on that ball, for instance, the performance differential is 0.65. And now what that means is when you look at that ball, just keep that in mind, 0.65. On a short pin drilling on that same ball, the total diff goes down from 0.45 to 0.30. And the intermediate diff goes down from 0.15 to 0.10. The performance diff is 0.32. So it's more than half of what the max flip drilling is. Now, that may mean nothing to you at all, but that's the amount of flare built in. Now, we get all of this because we do a lot of studies on after drilling numbers. If you compare the Zigzag Solid to the max bias, for instance, the max bias, the max flip drilling is 0.62. That's much higher. And the intermediate diff is 0.44. In that case, that performance differential on the max bias, how did you have that up so quick?
Because it was loaded already.
Okay, good.
I got the right core on that one.
Yeah, you do. On the max bias, the performance differential is 0.76. So looking at that column, you know that the two drillings side by side, both max flip drillings, one is going to flare significantly more than the other. Now, here's the difference.
Yep.
On the max bias, when you drill a short pin, your total diff goes down to 0.22 and the intermediate goes to 0.12, whereas on a Zigzag it goes to 0.30 and 0.10. So the Zigzag Solid, because the diffs start out lower, 0.45 and 0.15, okay, you have a more moderate intermediate diff, 0.15 versus an 0.30 on the max bias. But you can achieve similar performance with the Zigzag with drillings because of the way the core is shaped and the amount of mass that comes out of it. Whenever you, and it won't roll forward. The max bias, I assure you, will roll forward for some people because it's that strong a ball.
Sure.
It's going to happen. But you'll be less likely to roll the Zigzag Solid forward at the end of the pattern. But the core has more dynamics built in it for after drilling.
Both
the numbers start out right, way different. You have an 0.15 and an 0.45, the intermediate diff and the total diff, compared to an 0.30 and an 0.50 on the max bias. Yet when I go to the maximum drillings, I can get 057 out of that ball and 030 as an intermediate diff.
Right.
If I wanted to.
When I drilled mine, and we spun them on the RG swing, I was actually getting over 030 just because the Sarge finger took out a little bit different mass than a regular finger grip, I'm guessing. Right. And also my layout was a little bit different, compared to what's on the sheet. But just the fact that you can more than double your intermediate with certain layouts makes it completely different.
Right. Now, when you look at the hitter, which has an 053 and an 015, 053 total diff, 015 intermediate diff. So the intermediate diff is the same with the hitter, but with the max flip drilling, now the total diff on the hitter is much higher. It's 053. With the max flip drilling, same drilling as you would put a max flip drilling on the solid, you get 059 and 025. You get a performance differential of 064. Yeah. Well, I got an 065 performance differential on the Zigzag with the same drilling, and I started out with way lower differential numbers.
And that comes down to the shape and how you're taking and removing out mass.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah, all those big points and all those big mass features that are pointing everywhere, every which way, those matter where you hit them.
And the key is when our drill sheet, when you look at the drill sheet, we lay it out so you hit them in different ways. Mm-hmm. And that's why you can get so much of a more versatile, it's a more versatile ball. Now you got the original Zigzag and you have the Zigzag Solid. So you can have the same drilling in both balls and have two different covers on it. Or you can take the strong ball like this one here with the HK22 Solid on it, fiddle with the surface a little bit, and get wider range of motion from the drill patterns, So you have plenty of opportunity here with the Zigzag Solid.
Each wants to know how much flare on a. Actually, golf balls do flare, sort of.
Ask Nick when he hits his new driver further, but it's further into the woods because the ball flared to the right.
No, I mark my PSA on all my golf balls, and I hit where my PSA will be 90 degrees from my target at all times. Science, baby.
You got a problem.
Yep, you got a problem too.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the new ball with the right core this time.
Oh my God, it's not even the same color. Anyway, the no doubt it's going to be a new category for us. I'm going to call them super symmetricals. And the reason I call them super symmetricals is we'll go back to the performance differential again. On this ball here, for instance, on a max flip drilling, I can get the performance differential up to 061. Let me give you an example of what that meant. On the max flip drilling on a Zigzag Solid, I got the performance differential to 065. This is a symmetrical ball. The Zigzag Solid was an asymmetrical ball. I can almost achieve the same flare potential with the no doubt that I can get with the maximum drilling on a Zigzag Solid.
Right. Because
on a short pin,
the intermediates jump up.
Yeah, the intermediate goes from, let's see, I have it here from O. There is no intermediate. It's under 008, 0.008, and I can get it up to 0.014.
Yeah,
on this ball. So it's an opportunity to make it almost an asymmetrical ball, or at least it's almost as strong as some of our other balls. On the short pin layout, I can get the intermediate to 010 and the performance differential to 050. So I can't get it as low as I could. Excuse me, as low as I could on the Zigzag Solid because that ball is so versatile. But I can get it down to 050. Now, comparing it to two other balls in the line, for instance, compared to the breakaway on the max flip drilling, you have an 048 and 013 diff versus intermediate diff. And on the no doubt, it's 059, 014. So I raised the intermediate, the total diff on the no doubt from 051 to 059. I can raise it 8 or 9 points, but I can lower it down to 036. So the performance, when you start seeing performance symmetricals or what we call super symmetricals, you're going to see a more technical cover stock. More technical core and core designs with our super symmetricals. And we have a few more in the works already. We are looking for an opportunity for somebody who wants to stay away from asymmetricals to have performance built into the symmetricals, and they will not roll forward at the end of the pattern, just by design. So we're making them become more asymmetrical, more asymmetry after drilling, but we're able to control that so that when it comes off the back of the pattern, for almost nearly everybody, it will not roll forward. And you can get almost the exact performance. Now, the beauty of that, you get HK22 Pearl on it, HK22 Plus Pearl, which is another iteration of HK22. You know, I remember you remember we've had conversations about this several times where we had 16 iterations before we got to HK22 the way we have it. There were other iterations out that got past the original HK22 that we play with, and we have not given them different names. We just added some of the pluses or some of the additive packages, and this is one of them. We tested this ball with several packages, and this is the one that gave us the exact motion that we wanted. Comparing it to the Rattler, look, I know people are going to ask these questions. That's why I'm sort of anticipating some of the questions. The performance differential on a max flip drilling on a Rattler versus a max flip drilling on a No Doubt, the Rattler's performance differential is 046 on the Rattler, and on a No Doubt it's 061.
Yeah, huge difference. Huge
Difference.
Like
on a short pin drilling, on the short pin drilling, on a No Doubt, the performance differential is 050, and on the short pin Rattler it's 030.
Yeah, that's a big.
So you got a huge big difference there, right? Compared to the breakaway would be an 050 versus an 061 on the No Doubt, and an 037 versus an 050 on the No Doubt. So the No Doubt's a more dynamic ball. It's a symmetrical ball. You're going to have a symmetrical price with it that goes along with it, but you're going to get a lot of asymmetrical performance out of it on one end of the spectrum with the drilling, or you can have a symmetrical performance on the other end of the spectrum with the drilling.
Yeah, talk about the core a little bit, because we've been getting some comments, and I've seen some things on social on our posts about the core shape, how it might be similar to something. How do we design that core? Where did it develop from? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, you know, we always talk about what we learned from the last ball we made. What we did on this one is we took away a lot of the protrusions, but we made the core, the nose of the core is more of a pointed nose to it. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know what they were asking about, because I didn't see the questions that you had, Nick.
They say it looks eerily similar to a competitor's core. However,
which one? Did they say which one? I don't know.
The Zen. So
no, I don't know if you could say that. I mean, go ahead.
We'll post a video here in the near future with Brian Buckosh. He explains the core design, because he works with Steve Freshour a little bit on a lot of this stuff.
Right.
And the core was actually derived from the Ridiculous core. So if you look at the original Ridiculous core, it had the finger scoop, and it had that same similar shape.
Right.
Modified, because the Ridiculous was still in the weight hole era. And the same thing happened when we came out with Katana versus the new Katana core. You know, because Katana you can use weight holes, Katana Assault, and forward you could not. So the cores were modified in a way that you can get those after drilling numbers and get that performance differential without the use of balance holes. So if you go and want to know where this core was developed from,
it was from the Ridiculous, right?
Look no further than the Ridiculous. It's a different version of that.
Yeah, and if you want to go back to that, the Ridiculous was before the Zen. So maybe you should go on their website and ask if they designed the Zen off of the Ridiculous. But again, we go back in time, and we talked about this last week, how
Nobody ever asks those questions, though. It's always, why did we steal that? Why did we steal that? It's like,
yeah,
no.
why did we? Yeah, exactly. No,
yeah.
we don't steal.
Oh, the hitter pearl looks like the IQ ruby. All right, well, the IQ ruby looks like the counterattack pearl. So what do you
exactly the color? Right, exactly. So you know what? Yeah, we had the ridiculous, and that was our #1 selling symmetrical ball. Well,
Ooh.
up to that point. That was before. I mean, up to that point. Yeah. That ball was the most popular, one of the more popular balls on tour for us too, because the players manipulated it and had a lot of opportunity. Now, when I talked to Steve Freshour, I said, I'd like to have a better version of the ridiculous, the black ridiculous. And Steve went in the archives, pulled out the core design, looked at it, saw where some of the weaknesses are. And Steve has that computer program that he looks at that predicts ball motion. And he realized where some of the pitfalls are on some of the ball motions of balls in the past. Maybe it didn't work in this spot of the lane. Maybe it didn't work with that type of bowler. Maybe it didn't work with this drilling. And then we made a better version of it. So taking the ridiculous core and saying, let's make a better version of it. This is what we came out with, no doubt. So no, we did not go after and go copy the Zen. What we did was we took the ball that maybe the Zen copied, which was the ridiculous, and
it's like people realize like Storm just doesn't send us cores so we can model it after it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not sending us samples. They're not, hey, do this. You know.
Here's our next core. Can you do that? Can you do that? No.
It's much easier and more efficient to just take our existing cores and make them improved. So.
Yeah, and that's what we do. We have history, and we have a program. We have a guy that's a genius with Steve when it comes to that. He has a program that predicts ball motion, and it can predict it in different parts of the lane with different drill patterns. You know, when Steve designs a core, and he'll talk about it next week, I'm sure. When he designs a core, he'll put in, pick a number. Let's use the 45 by. But that's okay. It was close. You're wrong. 7. He'll use like a 45 by 4 by 35 as a starting point, and then he'll change that and say, what does it look like at 70 by 3.5 by 20? And guess what? If the performance drops off, he knows that core's got a hole in its swing, so to speak. You know, we got to fix that. So then he'll go back and modify the core so that the performance that's expected with each of those drill patterns matches the motion that we're looking for on the lane. Taking the ridiculous core, plug it into the computer, look at the ball motion, and then come back and say, okay, I can make a better version of that by doing this. And guess what? He did. We have a wider range of motion and a wider drill pattern, a range of drill patterns.
And you gave it a cool new name that you invented yourself.
I invented that name.
Say it with us, everybody. Super symmetrical.
Super symmetrical. And I tell you, those are going to be great balls for people that are trapped between symmetrical and asymmetrical. You know, I got a lot of people. I bowl. I still bowl a lot. I see people every day. Oh, I keep leaving flat 10s. It's got the wrong ball in your hand. Yeah, but I can't get the other ball to finish that way. I got a spot. You know, you tell a guy should use an asymmetrical ball. He leaves flat 10s because the ball rolls forward. Okay. I tell him to shine. He don't have enough hand to get it around the corner. He struggles in the say he makes it dull, it burns up. Drill a symmetrical ball. I can't get that ball to hook enough. Sand it. Well, hook's too early. Leave flat 10s again. Guess what? There's a spot between those two, and it's called super symmetrical.
Say it with us again now. Super
symmetrical. So anyway, you want to do a top 5 and then take some questions?
You asked about the temperature?
The temperature.
Yeah, we'll do a top 5.
Top 5. So
all right.
This started out as we were going to do top selling balls, and then I realized the problem with top selling balls is, does a conspiracy and a conspiracy pearl and a conspiracy theory count as one ball? So I said, you know what? Let's look at the cores we designed, and we will we'll just talk about how those balls, that core equated to sales.
Mind you, now, this is all Phil's work here, by the way.
Yeah, because I screwed up. I didn't put them in reverse order.
Alphabetical order.
Can you go from the 5 backwards first, real quick?
I don't know. Maybe I can. I've never tried. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, do that. So number 5, the hitter. The hitter's core is doing very, very well for us, and it's in our top 5 of total ball sales in the life of Radical. And we've only had 2 versions of it, the hitter and the hitter pearl. So the other balls you might see on the list had many more versions. That's why the sales number's up. This one will surpass some of them. 2.4 in time, 2.48, 053, and an intermediate diff of 015. This is a very versatile ball, and I think that's why it's so successful. And usually, here's another indicator. It was black. So when the first one comes out and it's black, and you see a big seller, because, it's my favorite color. That's my favorite 3 colors. But, black. The hitter's doing very well. And there's the last generation, basically, of our core designs is right there. That and the Zigzag. And you notice that there's some similarities between those 2 balls. Number 4 was the Zing. Now, the Zing, let me tell you about the Zing Zing. The Zing Zing is an iteration that goes back to the days of the Ridiculous. Okay, so again, that's how far back we go.
Yeah, another core that's derived off of a Ridiculous core turned ASIM now.
Turned ASIM, right. 249, 051, 020, the Zing Pearl, the Zing Hybrid, they were all great balls. Great Zing Solid, all great balls. And again, that's why. I'm sorry?
I shot my first 300 at the House of Pain with the Zing Hybrid.
Oh, did you? Yeah, it was a good ball. Even for you.
Even for me, especially for me.
Yeah. Number 3, Katana. Again, similarities to the Ridiculous. So, we jumped the gun a little bit with people saying it looked like the Zen. That core in the No Doubt has very much similarities to these balls.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the Zing
top down like that,
yeah. It's not, the only thing it doesn't have on it in the No Doubt is the finger scoop.
There you go.
But it's got a lot of the consistencies, and Steve was able to modify it to lower the intermediate diff, but yet keep the total diff the same on the No Doubt. So the Katana was our 3rd best selling balls, 543 of all time. Katana core. Don't forget, the original Katana, Katana Slash. Then we had the Katana Assault. Go ahead.
Not to flex on everybody, but I put aside a 15-pound Katana Slash, all the Katanas. I have every single one at my desk in a box.
Yeah,
chilling.
That's how great they are. They are good balls. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
So Katana Assault, Katana Strike, they all came from this core.
That's true.
Next top selling ball, number 2, the Squash. Okay, so here's an interesting thing about the Squash. Finger scoop, fat belly core.
Big fat belly.
Now, this one allowed us to do a lot of after drilling numbers because the thumb went into the belly of the core, giving us some options. And in those days, don't forget, we could still use weight holes.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of options in this one. But again, a lot of the derivatives come out of what we started with the Ridiculous, and then started putting flip locks on balls, and then finger scoops, and expanding the middle, taking away the nose. If you took the nose off, put a nose on this ball and shrunk it in a little bit, it would look a lot like a Katana. So, we had a lot of knowledge from the previous core, but the Squatch was our 2nd most popular ball. And that we had a couple of different Squatches or Squatch eyes.
Bigfoot, Squatch.
Exactly. Yeah.
Word.
So all derivatives.
Mm-hmm.
And the number 1 selling core.
What does everybody think it is? What does everybody in the chat think?
Yeah, we'll give you all a chance to guess. Real quick.
Number 1 selling core all time
in the
of the world in Radical bowling.
Radical's world.
What does everybody think?
Down the bottom, real quick.
We're getting a guess for conspiracy, intel, conspiracy guru. Rattler, Conspiracy, Sneak Attack, Snack Attack. All
right, let's show it. The Conspiracy.
There it is.
This ball continues to sell. That shape, again, look at the shape. We don't see much. There's still some of the no doubt shape built into that core. 248, 056, 021. So it had a lesser intermediate diff than the katanas. It came before the katanas, so the katanas were after that. This ball just rolls so good. Like no matter what cover we put it on it, the ball rolls great. You know, and that is our #1 selling core.
And this is a core you brought along with you a little bit, didn't you?
I designed that core. I invented that core. Yes, I did. I invented that core.
About time you do some work.
Well, you know, once in a while, as they say, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn.
That is true.
So,
especially around Muskegon, because we got some fat squirrels around
Brunswick. You do, that's but you don't have as many acorns. You have acorns, don't you?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of them down here from the oak trees. They bombard the house in the when they start to shed, and the squirrels gather them and dig holes everywhere and bury them.
Yeah. We hear it at the golf course all the time. You'd be out there just waiting to tee off, and you just hear
exactly
like they're just knocking them off the trees there, and then going to gather them on the ground.
And they gather them on the ground. Then they dig holes and bury them.
I wonder if they remember where they bury them all, or they're just like, oh no.
They have a built-in GPS. Squirrels have a built-in GPS. Yeah, they do. They do. It's an app.
But what if they, mess up? What if they get their wires crossed, or what if they get into some like fermented grapes on accident, have a bender,
and they're drunk and laying around on the ground?
Yeah, They're just passed out.
All right, let's take some. Oh, guess what time it is? It's 5 after 3. Let's take some questions. Is the Woo Box closed? Is that done now?
Woo Box is shut down. Entries closed at the top of the hour. There. Let's see how many entries we got. We got a lot of entries as usual.
Right.
What do we got here? 336. That means there's 349 watching. That means 13 staffers must be in the chat because we told them not to get in, right?
Well, those are the people that are going to say, I didn't see the Woo Box. Where is it?
Right. Well, sorry. Yep. Show up at the last minute and be like, where's the Woo Box link? Nope.
Right.
Sorry. It's over. Our bad.
Exactly.
Nice. All right. I'm starting from the top because that's where I like to.
I'm going to start from the bottom.
Good job. If you see a question, just start calling it out. How about that?
Yeah, I can't get to the bottom. There's so many comments here. I can't even get there. There we go. Let's see. I'm so bad at this.
Are you?
Yeah, I really am.
Yeah. Well, some of the stuff we've addressed. We addressed the thick shell versus dynamic core. We addressed the 14 versus 15 on the Ivory Rhino Pro and other thick shell stuff because it's not just that ball. Hey, there's a comment more than anything. K Trader said, I'm the funniest guy on Bowling Podcast, 3 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. Yeah, I believe that.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm funny.
A lot of out-of-work comedians.
Funny how? Let's see what we got here. Yeah, questions are so tough. We need like a moderator for this kind of stuff. A third person.
I know
that
it.
Can just feed
to
it
keep watching it, right? Yeah.
Or I could just be better about like highlighting these as I go. But
you're terrible.
I got like 4 jobs during the show, and one of them was to replace the core on that one. So I was like, wow, that core looks like a zigzag core. That's really super symmetric.
Yeah. I'm flipping.
Here we go. Phil, have you ever has a ball collab? Have you ever?
Why would you pick a question you can't even read English?
Why would
you pick that question that you can't even read it?
Because I know what he means. He's like, have you ever done a ball collaboration with like another person or like collaborated with a celebrity? You have in the past with track.
Oh yeah, I did the one with Sugar Ray Leonard. We did the boxing glove plastic ball, clear ball. Is that what they mean by with a celebrity or just? I collaborate with Mo when he was. I mean, forever. We did stuff like that when Mo was with us, and even before that with the Shark and stuff, and that ball with track. And then with Steve, I call Steve up. I said, Steve, I got an idea, and Steve calls me up, and he's got an idea, and we try to fit stuff like that into the line where it fits.
Yep.
So,
got a question here from Eric. As soon as I can get there, dynamic core versus power core. So this is the difference. So dynamic core is outer core material. So that is the bond between the inner core and the outer cover material. Okay. Now what power core is a dense inner nugget inside the inner core to effectively lower the RG and sometimes create a little bit more differential. So depending on where it's placed, but typically the power core is going to be something that lowers an RG of a ball. Dynamic core is the outer core material. So two different things there. So they aren't like, competing technologies or anything like that. It's like similar to like your ceramic core was back long ago. So effectively making the core a different animal altogether. So what else we got? You find anything yet? Or are you frozen?
I'm still looking.
I can't tell. Somebody
I can act frozen.
There you go. Please do.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Wing Racer. How does HK22 deal with being flooded? Good chance my balls will be underwater tonight. Oh, it must be Florida. Yeah.
Yikes. I don't even know how bowling balls. We used to do this like weird stuff in the old days, and I'll tell you one of the things we did. With we've submerged balls in 5-gallon buckets of water. And the problem is, if you have a drilled ball, it just depends on. In the old days, we had sometimes we had cohesion problems with the cover and the core, and that water would seep in there and get in between, and you'd have problems. I think they'll be fine. Yeah, it's unfortunate you're going to have to go through that.
Yeah, I did do a video on whether bowling balls absorb oil, and they absorb water, and they absolutely do. Yeah. Now, what percentage of it is cover and which is going into the core? It's a little of both, but I tested it on an undrilled ball as well, and it did get heavier after soaking for a few days in a bucket of water. So it will absorb anything liquid that it'll come into contact with. So I don't know.
We used to do that at Columbia a lot. We take a 5-gallon pail of oil and an undrilled ball and soak it in there for a couple of days.
See what happens.
Take it out and weigh the ball, and it absorbed oil.
Yeah, sure.
It did.
Robert, could bowling company do a Kickstarter sort of thing to where X amount of people buy into ball with Y core, Z cover stock? How many people would it take to get that thing made? That's actually been attempted, and it did not get off the ground. So there was a startup of that sort where it was all Kickstarter type funded, and just didn't quite come to fruition. So it's all dependent on how many people you can get signed up to get that started, because it costs a lot of money to build bowling balls. So if you don't have the capital, you don't get the wrestle.
That's right.
If you don't weigh in, you don't wrestle.
That's how that works.
All right, what else we got? Let's see what people would pay for that one-off ball.
Was it on there? Did you see that?
$220. I'm just gonna bring them. I'm just gonna mention them. $229, $400, $499, $209.99. Mark Buffa says people would pay even if it's not USB-C approved $2,500.
I was going to ask that when we were talking about it. Is how important? I got to make sure I word this correctly. Is a USB-C approval to somebody? So if a ball is not USB-C approved, does that mean you can't use it in a sanctioned league?
That is correct.
Okay, so now what happens? You have a ball that you designed for yourself, and you can't use it in a sanctioned league because the sanctioned league police guy is going to call you out on it.
Absolutely would. That would be me, by the way.
Yeah, you'd be all over that, right?
Yeah, like you can't throw that. Get that out of here.
Get that out of here. So that's the problem with it. So sanctioning is expensive, and I don't know if it's $700 or $500. I think it's $500.
Right. But maybe we can streamline that process, like I said, and work out something with USB-C where say,
USB-C is going to give you a discount. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, quantity discount. They don't have to certify these bowling balls. They're already certified in their completed form in different, levels. So say you put X core with now Y cover when both of those have already been approved individually.
And just the name is going to be changed.
The name and whatever, yeah, they can come up with their own little name and do it up.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna do that startup.
Yeah, I think you should.
I'm gonna start working on it as soon as we hang up here. As soon as we go off the line.
We got to go off the line. I'm having trouble questions. Yeah, you're better at questions than I am.
How many 8-pins have I left with these new balls? I do not. I almost left one with the Rhino Pro, but I don't think I actually left one with any of these bowling balls this round. So my 8-pin percentage has gone a lot down as soon as I started making those shirts. I tell you. I don't know. All right. Someone also said an airborne ball will keep the pins low. So when it's bouncing off the thumb right before the pins, it'll keep the pins lower. So
yeah, because it's going to hit above the center of the ball, above the center of the pin. Absolutely, it is.
All right. I got to find one question for you at least so I can go pick a winner.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking. I'm terrible with this. I can't find any.
You want to, let's see what we got here. Here. No, you're not going to be able to answer that one. Yeah, let's go with this one. Will says, how long ago were you at Columbia, Phil? Talk about your Columbia days.
Let's see. I think 91 I started. Actually, I started track in 88. And in 90 we sold the company. So how long ago? I'm with Brunswick now. Nick, is it 13, 14 years?
You came on 2013.
2013.
I've been counting my days.
I know it.
Feels like more.
So that's 11.
More
that's
like
11 with Brunswick, and then I had 2 with 2.5 with Global. So that's 13. Probably 14 years ago was Columbia. That's how long ago. But I was with them from 88 to 14 years ago.
You're technically still there.
I'm right across the street from. I'm in the same parking lot. Just right across, just another building. I'm in building 6, not building 1, which was the main office. I'm actually in the R&D building. What Columbia was Columbia's R&D building.
Because you like to do R&D. How much walking around was there back in the day that you had to like walk between buildings?
Well, no, actually, here's what happened. The main building had, before the fire, was one main building.
What year was the fire?
95, I think.
Wow.
94. We had a building across the street. That's where track was, not on the same property, across the street. And that's where we had the test center with the bowling alleys in it and bowling lanes in it and all. And that's where track was. And then the fire hit and it burnt half the buildings, both of them. The manufacturing side. Well, there were three sections to the building. There was the main offices, the warehouse, and then the factory.
Were they trying to make fire quantums in 95? Or were they trying to copy the fire quantum?
Right? Well, actually, the fire started when they were pouring the heats.
I was going to say they put real fire.
Yeah,
someone told them that there's real fire in the fire quantum. So
yeah, right, exactly, right. So, when the fire happened, they built 2 separate buildings, and repaired the main building, so that if it ever happened again, the fire couldn't travel through the ductwork, which is what happened the first time. It went from one side of the building to the other through the ductwork, so they separated it. And in the back of the building, we had a machine shop. They had some storage buildings, a lot of the steel buildings that they put up. And the building I'm in is a brick building. It's regular construction. That's where the R&D team was in. So walking around wise, the main building had the offices in the front and the warehouse in the back, which was fine. Then you just walked across a breezeway area and you went into the core area, and then another breezeway area. You went into the urethane and polyester area where they pouring areas. So it was pretty cool. That's the way it is now. But, none of that's here anymore. But that's how many buildings there are. When I was at track, my building was across the street, my office. And like I said, in the back of it was the test center with the lanes. and a small warehouse that we kept short run balls, that we could pull out and test.
How many lanes did you have there?
We had 4.
4? Okay.
Yeah,
so we pretty much have 4 here that we actually use, 2 for Throwbot, pretty much.
Yeah. But ours was for testing only. You guys have it to display too.
Right. Yeah, that's our
Brunswick has a show center and test center. All we had was there was no scoring system or anything. Just the lanes. We had the cat system installed, Super Cat. And we had lane machine that we could put programs in. And we didn't have a Throwbot actually, so we had to use
people.
Well, I bowled and Danny Speranza bowled and a couple other. Brian Graham bowled when he was here. I mean, obviously.
That's right.
And then we go out and take data from the bowlers and try to use it as significant. Mostly we use charts and the graphs that were made from Specto or CATs.
Does it feel archaic now compared to what we have now in technology and the way we can collect data and create?
Yeah, it's not here anymore, but yeah, it's. I used to go to the bowling centers because we want to test on different conditions. When Steve Wunderlich worked with us, and we would put markers down the lane and see where the ball hooked from, where the markers were, so we can get an idea how far down the lane was. Don't forget, that's even before they had tracers on the lanes.
Right.
So you had this ball go further than that one. Yeah, it looked like it. Nah, I need more than just look like it. Now, when we did it on cats, you could see the graph.
Right. Yeah. You was decent graph.
Shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we first started with doing the Throwbot stuff, this is before we got Specto.
Right.
We had cats on lane 5.
Yeah.
And so, we'd get the graphs on there from the cats data.
Sure.
That's it. That was the norm at the time.
Yeah, that's what we used. And we couldn't measure rev rate and ball speed. Ball speed you could. I couldn't even measure rev rate. Launch angle was key. You could always measure that. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was a learning experience, obviously, without all the tools you have nowadays. And I want people to understand something. We use all the tools. I mean, literally use all the tools. When it comes to, if you look at some of our videos, especially the ones we do with the Throwbot videos, we measure entry angle, hook angle, impact angle, the amount of boards crossed. We show you a chart. No other company does that. They don't use that data and publish it for you guys to see.
They have it.
I understand.
But they don't.
I'm saying they don't. Not only they don't publish it. A lot of people don't. But other companies don't have it. They don't have the opportunity to have that. And then the other thing that we do with the after drilling, people don't realize how much work goes into an after drilling sheet, because the densities and where the ball is drilled on every ball is different.
Yeah, that all.
So
has
it's not a
modeled.
template that we go here. It's got to be modeled. And then we put it out there. So when people say to me, well, I want to get a ball that rolls like this one, and I say, go back and look at the drill sheets. Some people are just lazy; they don't want to do it. But I do it. If I like it, if I have an Intel that rolls a certain way that I want to copy in another ball, I go look at the drill sheet on the Intel, try to get the after drilling numbers, and then look for how I have to drill a new ball to get close to that. So, we do a lot more technical work, and we got a lot of good product coming out. Next week we'll have Steve on the show. He'll talk about some of the new stuff we do and how he does it.
Yeah, Tim asked, do you use Throwbot for all of the brands? And the answer is sometimes, but not in the manner that we do it with Radical. So we do test some things as far as kind of more on the background stuff. So like when we were testing, for instance, the Troublemaker core, we have our testers, in fact, most of our testers in-house they're all one-handers. There's no two-handers in-house. So how are we supposed to test certain things? One is we bring in our pro staff because, we got Ogle and Russo and all that. So we can test two-handed, no-thumb drillings that core's designed. So to verify some of the data, to verify a lot of the reaction performance we're looking for, we'll use Throwbot in those cases when we're trying to really dial down, or if we're looking to, say, compare performance against, say, a competitor brand. Like, how close are we actually? Our ball testers say this. We think it's close. Can you run the test real quick, and we'll use Throwbot in that manner. That's how Throwbot was originally designed was for oil testing and for some ball testing. It was more for oil pattern testing, really. That's how it was developed. But it's become a big tool for us to test, especially in conjunction with Specto data on top, because we can see right away objectively what each ball does compared to one another. If we're comparing layouts, say on Troublemaker stuff, we can see that. We can see visually that the core is flaring more, but how does that relate to in performance on the lane? What's it actually doing? We can find all that. So we do test. It doesn't happen all the time. It's very specific. And it's definitely not every ball launch like we do with Radical. Radical is a technical brand, so it made more sense to use Throwbot as much as we could.
Somebody had a question about designing a ball for two-handed drillings. Near the bottom of them. There it is. So not particularly. I think Deviate is in that area mostly about two-handed balls. They had the Troublemaker was one specifically developed with the two-hander in mind, but the ball works great under normal circumstances for one-handed bowlers. But what I did work on, we're working on a project, and Steve has come up with a great idea on layouts, two-handed layouts. Some of them are out there are a little more confusing. He's got one that he thinks is probably spot on, and I believe if Steve said he thinks it's better than what's out there, I believe him. He's not the kind of guy that just does it and throws it out there. It's got to be.
Yeah, he doesn't really lead you astray there. He's pretty big on the technical data on that and what he's actually finding.
Yeah. So he called me. I forget which day it was. Might have been Monday or Tuesday. And we spoke a little bit about it. He's got a system he's worked up that looks pretty fantastic. He's really excited about it. So I think that's something we're going to be coming out with soon. Is the just some information on two-handed drillings, and maybe a little easier way to implement them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
all right, we had one more question. I think this one's going to be for you. What is the hardest part in bringing a new ball to market? I know the answer. What you're going to say. I know what you're going to say.
You want to say it at the same time? 1, 2, 3. Names. There is nothing harder than naming a ball.
There you go.
You can't do it. It's just, I'll have a great name on Monday. Tuesday, it's terrible.
Yeah, because either legal said you can't use it, or it's already been.
Yeah, or it just sounded bad the second day. That was dumb.
Yeah. Why would you call it that?
Why did you call it that? It's just, it's, I don't know. It's tough. Some days I could have 3 or 4 of them sitting, and no problem. Other days, I got nothing. Names.
Before my boy Scotty loses his mind, what is your favorite Brunswick bowling ball of 2024? It's still the Hammer Effect. That's still my favorite bowling ball of the year. However, the one Reverb in Vaporize are right up there. That's my go-to right there. Asymmetric, shinier, pearly, hybrid type bowling balls. Mm-hmm. But Hammer Effect, I called it back in February, March when it came out.
Yeah, you did. Mm-hmm.
I said this is the best ball of 2024. If we're going merely on sale numbers for performance bowling balls, I'm going to have to say I'm probably correct, because
you haven't thrown the No Doubt yet, have you?
Yeah, enough. I threw. Oh no, I haven't thrown it. I just threw it in the review. I haven't thrown it in league. Nothing.
You haven't tried it in league yet, huh? Well, whatever.
Mm-mm.
When are you going to do that?
I don't know. I'm going on. I got plenty of weeks. I got. I'm going to do
12 more. You got 12 more left, right?
I got Rhino Pro. I'm going to use Rhino Pro this week, and I haven't decided what my first ball out of the bag will be yet. But I'm going to try to go with something where I can transition to it. So it'll probably be something a little step stronger, but not like crazy strong. We'll see.
I got it.
All right. We ready for the winner?
I am. Are you? Hold on.
I'm ready.
Hold on.
Get your timer out. Let me get adjusted here.
Gotta get the clock.
Is everybody ready for the winner? Hopefully the winner's here.
Let's see. It'd be nice if the winner's here. I'm ready. I got the clock going.
Okay. The winner
this
week is drum roll. Jeff Collins. Jeff Collins, are you with us?
Jeff Collins. Clock is
here.
going.
You got 90 seconds to check in. We want to give you
tick.
More than one spin.
Talk. He had 90 seconds. Had.
Jeff Collins.
Jeff Collins. Dun, dun, dun.
It kind of sounds like a catchy, like one of those catchy
jingles
commercials you hear during The Price is Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like Jeff Collins, plumbing specialists. I don't know what he does, but it just sounds. He sounds, you know, like a journeyman. You know, like he fixes stuff.
Jeff Collins. Who do you call?
Collins.
Jeff Collins.
What do we got?
Hi, Jeff.
Collins?
You're halfway there, buddy.
45 seconds.
45 to go.
Jeff
And nice how you figured that out right away too.
Collins.
That half of 90 was 45. I know you had that in you.
Is that
Here
no
it
way?
is.
Is that your real name there, buddy? Is that really you? Is your Bruns Yuck? Are you actually Jeff Collins?
25 seconds.
If you are, I need to know the numbers that you put in your email address. I just need to verify that your numbers, you got four numbers in there. I know this Bruns Yuck, yeah.
9 seconds. I'm going to stop the clock.
We're verifying. He's fine. What do we got here? I finally know your real name, Bruns
Time's
Yuck.
up. Bruns Yuck.
What's the 4 number? He's got it right. 1564. That's him, Jeff Collins.
Man, I'm telling you, of all people.
Nice. All right.
Nice. All right, Jeff.
Man,
here we go.
I feel like this is exactly. This is like a plot twist. We finally got Bruns Yuck.
We got his name out.
He's on every premiere of mine, by the way. He missed the Rhino one because I don't know what he was doing more important at that
time. Is he a fan? Not with Bruns Yuck as his name. It scares me.
Well, no, his original name was Yuck, but after like the 10th premiere in a row he attended, I'm like, you know what? You need to change your name to Bruns Yuck. You know, you're officially on the team. So, all right, buddy. I'm hoping for 3-ball Arsenal for you. You've been around.
All right. I'm not. I'm hoping he gets like a grip sack or a chamois, something I can afford. It's so expensive.
Here we go. I'm doing it left-handed regular because that right-handed thing's not working for me.
All right, got it. Spin it.
Let's go. Come on.
Come on, Bruns Yuck.
Ball Arsenal. Here it comes.
Here it comes.
New shoes.
Ooh, I always like
new shoes.
What are you thinking there, Jeff?
Has anybody taken new shoes on the first one yet? Are you taking these new shoes, buddy?
Nice, new shoes.
What's it gonna be? That's a good gift.
It is.
But if you really want a 3-ball Arsenal, you're gonna have to send it
back. You gotta send it back, or you're gonna get a grip sack.
Nothing better we want to do than say if it's someone else got rid of their shoes.
That's it.
Shoes. What's it gonna be? Oh, he's
taking
them.
He's taking them. Smart man, Bruns Yuck. All right, Jeff.
I don't care what they say about you, Jeff. You're a smart man for taking the shoes. I'll get with you on email after the show and get your size and what style. Go ahead and pick out whatever shoes you want from Brunswick or Hammer, and we'll get that.
We'll get them out to
you.
That was a good show, Nick. You did a good job today, except for the core snafu.
Hey,
and the
I can't all be perfect all the time. I'm human.
Yeah, it would do. You would do for a good day. Next week, maybe. Next week we'll have Steve on the show.
It's gonna be a big show.
I like that. We have some, and we'll get some questions. We'll get with Steve ahead of time so he has some of the ideas that you guys brought up to talk about on the show. And the new balls are coming out. When did they approve? When are they on sale?
They're approved now, but they come out in your pro shops on October 24th. Someone wants us to spin it again just for fun to see what you would have got.
Oh, okay.
Had you not taken the shoes? We like playing that game. Let's see.
Yeah. That's it. We don't mind that, to see what you would have won.
Let's see what he would have won. Oh.
Triple
roller. Okay.
That's close. Man, that's a good prize.
That would have been a good one. So it wouldn't have been
Yeah, right.
It wouldn't have been a total loss, but I think new shoes.
That's a winner.
It's all still good. So, all right, everybody. All right. That's our show for this week. We appreciate everybody for tuning in, and
see you guys next week.
Always giving us something to laugh about, usually at our expense. So we appreciate that.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yep. Tune in to the top 5 rated bowling podcast Wednesdays at 3 p.m.
We should do a top 5 podcast at Wednesday at 3 p.m.
We should do like a top 5. Next top 5 should be the top 5 episodes that we've had. We need to go.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
There we go.
Yeah, you might have to do a little research then. You're not gonna be able to coast through it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna spend all my hours at work rewatching our podcast and giving them a legitimate rating, and I'll see if that's okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. Nice.
What are you doing? I'm doing research for the show.
I'm doing research for the show. I'm watching shows. We'll see you guys. Thanks again for the support. We appreciate it. Look for those new balls at a pro shop near you.
Get your pre-orders in now.
Pre-order them. And the no doubt's going to be special. Telling you. Super symmetrical.
Super duper symmetric. All right, y'all.
We'll see you guys.
See ya.
Thanks, Nick.